peasants. So we didn't really reach a consensus in the comments of how it is that I'm supposed to greet you guys, so I'm gonna usually say hey guys, but sometimes I might just throw out a different one just for the kicks. Anyway, today we are gonna be talking about Mac Miller's death. So let me start by saying I wasn't a fan of Mac Miller, and by that I mean that I just didn't listen to his music. I had no opinion on him whatsoever, and I still don't. So I just want to put that in context of this conversation. I also don't listen to Ariana Grande. That's how we say it in Italy. Here it's grand, I think. Whatever. Don't listen to her music either. And Tana Mongeau, we all know I don't really like. Okay, so those are my feelings about the people that I'm going to be talking about in this video. First of all, rest in peace, Mac Miller. I honestly feel like everyone's dying, and I know that that's such a dramatic way of putting it, but I feel like we've had so many drug-related deaths recently, and it's just so sad. It honestly is so sad and so demoralizing and depressing, honestly. And I believe in the sanctity of death in a way, in the sense that I believe that there is a certain type of decorum and a certain type of behavior you have to have when someone dies. And I'm not saying that you need to glorify the person if they were a piece of shit. However, what happened with Mac Miller here really just fucking bothered me, because Tana Mongeau essentially tried to put the spotlight on herself, first of all. And second of all, people were going to Ariana Grande, I'm just gonna say it the way I know how to say it, Ariana Grande's page on Instagram, saying that it's her fault that he died. So it says it was an overdose, but I read some articles saying that it's kind of murky and that it looks like the scene was cleaned up. So I don't know what's going on, so I'm just gonna refer to it as a death. But they were blaming her for his death, which I'm gonna get into it, but those are the two things I'm gonna talk about. Let's talk about Tana. So Tana has been known in these past times to pretend to date people like Bella Thorne and just be really weird and not explain who she's with, and then kind of imply that she's dating, I think the name of the guy is Hunter. I think he films most of her videos. It's just such a shit show. I don't follow it whatsoever, but I feel like there's always something coming up in my feed about her potentially semi-dating someone, but never confirming it. As soon as the Mac Miller news broke, Tana took to Twitter to reveal that there was some kind of relationship between her and Mac Miller. I'm sorry, but what the fuck? Let's look at the tweets and then I'll comment. So she starts by saying, "There's no way. I spoke to him last night. There's no fucking way. I love you, Malcolm. He was the GOAT. He was so strong and so funny and so fucking talented. The little things he would do to make me smile. That voice. His voice will echo in my head forever." The implication is that there was some kind of romantic relationship of sorts. She then goes on to say, "I remember in 8th grade listening to I'll Be There on repeat every day, all of my lunch break, because I loved how much he loved his mom." And she retweets a couple of videos of him. And then she says, "Something I shouldn't even have to say, but man, slut-shaming is a crazy thing. I can count on one hand the people I've slept with in the last year. Yeah, I'm wild, but when it comes to serious connections, I care. Crazy to see people think they know everything about you from the internet. My heart is broken. Spending all day, every day talking to someone and now not being able to because I can't anymore is breaking me by the second. Tell everyone you love them every second you get, every second." So I think this is one of the tweets that started to piss people off, because she's essentially making it about herself. You're allowed to have these feelings. It's the way in which you say things that can really kick you in the ass, especially when you're a huge influencer, because you're taking away the attention from him and saying, "I can't talk to him anymore," and shit like that. And it's just well, what do you think his family feels? What do you think Ariana Grande feels? It's just there's some moments in time when I just feel like you don't need to comment. If she wanted to let the world know that they were in this relationship or whatever, she could do that at a later time after she's let people mourn. Doing it this way just seems like you're trying to attract attention. And she got a shit ton of backlash for this, like an enormous amount, because like I said, she's very followed. So then these tweets came. So here in this thread, she says, I just want to apologize to anyone that was upset by my post or took it the wrong way. Bottom line, I loved Malcolm so much and never would want anyone to think my intentions were anything but true. He was truly the only thing bringing me happiness in such a depressed part of life. I looked up to him for years. He was my hero. Getting to know him changed my life. That is why I was so quick to share my personal love for him. I wanted to show you the perspective I saw him from. Human, not just an RIP post, not just a tweet and something everyone moves on from. I want him to be remembered for the incredible person he was, and I was sharing my experience. However, I can see how people could perceive that post differently, not knowing how close I was with him, and that breaks my heart. I'm sorry for that. It isn't about me and never will be. It's about Malcolm James McCormick and how fucking incredible he was. I was seeing so many posts dehumanizing him. He wasn't just an ex or unhappy. He was human. He was happy. He was excited for tour. He was excited to shoot that music video. He was excited for life. I just want anyone who sees this to know how much I loved him and how heartbroken I am. I'm sorry to anyone I've upset because that was truly my last intention. I wasn't doing that for attention. I was trying to tell you how much I loved him, but I understand how it could have been perceived differently. And again, I'm sorry. But there's no affair or any of those crazy allegations. Just someone I spent all of my time for a while lately consumed with, talking to, and loving. But I'm truly sorry if anything I said painted a different picture. All I want is for him to rest in peace. Rest in peace, Malcolm, the truest goat. I think this was damage control. I don't think that people should have, gone as wild as they went, because I mean, we know that Tana Mojo is a train wreck and she's known for having to apologize for something every fucking week at this point. At the same time, I do think it disrespects his death in certain ways. I am very traditional about certain things, and death is just one of them. I just think that there is a certain kind of decorum that should be brought when someone dies, and just popping the news of oh, by the way, we were in this kind of relationship, and implying all sorts of things that he loved her back, even we don't know any of this and he can't confirm or deny. So it's just, was it really necessary to put on Twitter? That's my question, you don't need to put everything on Twitter, and she has the freedom to do so. I'm just questioning, was it necessary? And how could she not think that people were gonna react by being this isn't about you, why are you talking about essentially dating him or whatever, when, I don't understand that, but I didn't think it was this huge scandalous thing. I just thought it was really rude and inappropriate, honestly. Anyway, let's get to the other side of things. Last time I checked, the comments were disabled, and Ariana Grande had posted a picture of Mac Miller with no caption or anything. However, I think that she disabled the comments everywhere because I couldn't find them. But on this article from a website called stuff.co.nz, I found someone's screenshot, and I remember seeing these screenshots going around, and here it is. It says, "It's crazy because you really did kill him. Sorry for your loss, hun." One good thing, and then people saying, "This is your fault, this is your fault." And honestly, that is such a disgusting kind of behavior to have, apart from the fact that, as far as I know, they've been separated, they've been apart for quite a while, and she's been with her new boyfriend for quite a while. So I don't even understand what kind of connection they can make to comment like this, but it is so disgusting. I just genuinely don't understand how they can try and blame her for his death when it was known that she was still supporting him and that they were still close as far as the media showed. This whole situation, I feel was just a shit show, because it was about Mac Miller's death. He died. It's about him, and it just turned so fucking ugly, between Tana just being inappropriate and saying all that shit at this specific moment, and then Ariana, who then was getting attacked for nothing, for people, for the fans of Mac Miller who were mad and needed someone to blame. I'm just so baffled at how people can go so far because they're a fan of someone, I'm a huge fan of Lana Del Rey, but I could not conceptualize going to maybe an ex-boyfriend and be it's your fault she died, no, that's so disgusting. Anyways, guys, I know this was a weird video, but I felt this was really bothersome for me because, like I said, I do take death as a very kind of, there's a sanctity there. I really see a lot of sanctity in death, and I just felt like this death was being like dragged around, and I really fucking hated it. Even if I didn't even listen to Mac Miller, it just didn't really seem correct. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'd really like to know what you think about all of this. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get right into the fan art.